You may have noticed in the 2 or 3 days since Donald Trump won a mandate from the American voters. Oh, there's a new sheriff in town, I can assure you of that.
News, the mayor just announced that the city will no longer issue vouchers to migrants to pay for food, ending a controversial program that had repeatedly come under attack by conservatives and others.
This pilot program in New York City, drenched in both humanity and controversy, distributed debit cards to migrant families staying in city-funded hotels and allowing them to buy their own food.
Hey, yo, y'all enjoying this victory lap? Less than a week after President Trump secured the 2024 election to become the 47th president of the U.S., we're already seeing the effects take place globally. All right, we're seeing Hamas calling for ceasefires and multiple places around the world kicking them out of their country. We got Russia and Ukraine willing to have a sit down. The stock market is going crazy, doing numbers. And then now we got New York. Mayor Adams discusses ending migrant voucher program. If you remember a few months back, New York City implemented a program to help out the illegals there, in which they gave them EBT cards and voucher cards with X amount of dollars. Some places were saying $5,000 a month. Then there were receipts being found with $15,000 and all that. Like, it was ridiculous. The taxpayers ended up having to be the ones footing the bill, all right, seeing record high inflation. Meanwhile, these people were being put up at hotels, given food so that they could buy whatever kind of food they wanted because they were wasting the food that was originally being given to them. But I guess that the mayor actually had a problem with what was going on, but New York City ended up voting as New York City does, and they said pretty much they want more of the same. If it's your first time, welcome. Other than that, welcome back. Under 800 gang, I appreciate y'all always showing up and showing support. This would be my 4th video of the week, but around the election, YouTube was playing some funny games. They removed one of my videos that was reporting on what was going on out there in Colorado. Now, I have appealed it, and hopefully they will release my video. As far as Mayor Adams goes, I think he saw the bigger picture. All right, he stopped going along, so he stopped getting along with his party. Once he started speaking out about what was actually going on with the migrant crisis in New York City, that's when you saw the backlash. I believe they started cutting funding, as well as he found himself in the middle of a federal case. Is it possible now he could be looking to go along and get along with President Trump? He's already reached out to him, and it would do some good for him as far as this federal case goes. I mean, I don't know what's all in it, but maybe if he was unfairly prosecuted, maybe there's something there. And then fixing up New York City as well. I mean, they still have to work together for the rest of his term and possible re-election.
Now to the mayor of New York. Lots of news involving Mayor Adams today, and today he's joining us live on Eyewitness News.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We want to start.
Good to see you both.
Yes, great to see you too. We want to start with your decision late this
He trying to get that pardon.
afternoon to end that food voucher program for immigrants. What led to this decision, and why now?
Well, it was an emergency contract for a sunsetting 1 year. That was what it was in place for 1 year. Now we have moved away from emergency response because we have had a constant decrease in our population, and now we're going to the procurement process that we do now for food. But we've been successful with that program. We brought down food waste. We were able to get several thousand individuals to have culturally sensitive food at the same time, and it was successful for the time being. And now we move into the general putting out the RFPs that are needed.
You listen to him, he hasn't made any mistakes throughout his administration. All right, they haven't had a migrant crisis. New York City isn't dirty as hell. It doesn't have a deficit through the roof. Nah. Mayor Eric Adams has been a wonderful mayor, but the crazy thing is he'll probably get reelected.
And now we're moving in another direction.
Funding, of course, the big issue surrounding the city, and has been the big issue surrounding your tenure to some degree. Let's talk about some other crucial issues, though. You talked yesterday to President-elect Trump. What did you talk about, and did it involve any funding for New York City, or perhaps lack of funding?
Well, I've been very consistent about private conversations. I don't go into them, but I'm clear. I'm here to fight on behalf of this city. You can't hold your breath and wait 4 years before you start bringing back those resources to the city. We have a new president, and I'm going to collaborate with his administration to deal with some pressing issues that face in our city, particularly around funding. When you look at the billions of dollars we spent with the migrants and asylum seekers, we got very little help from the federal government, and I think it's imperative that we engage on the right foot to say New York needs infrastructure, affordability, and other big ticket items.
It's so funny to see how many people have changed their way of thinking in a few days. It's like President Trump getting back in the White House has all of a sudden brought common sense back to the world. And you just heard him. Billions and billions spent on the migrant crisis. And I'm from New York City, yo. I hate to see my city looking like the way it is.
Well, Mayor, speaking of the new president, do you think the Trump presidency will have an impact on your federal case? Are you hoping the charges will be dropped? We do know that he said that you were being unfairly targeted because of your criticism of the Biden administration's immigration policy. What are your thoughts on that? And have you spoken to Trump about this?
No, I did not. And I've been extremely clear that I've done nothing wrong, and I have competent attorneys that are going to handle that case. My job is to do what I was elected to do, and that's fight on behalf of New Yorkers. And anyone who conflate the two just really don't know who I've been for the last 30 plus years as a public servant from police officer to an elected official. I'm going to fight and defend this city. This city deserves that, and that is what I'm going to continue to do.
In all fairness, though, I do think Mayor Adams was targeted. I think that he started speaking out against what was actually going on, okay, because a lot of these cities were hush, hush, hush. We didn't even hear much about Chicago until the residents started speaking out about what was going on there, and then the town hall started going viral. So once Mayor Adams started repeatedly saying that they have a crisis, that New York City will be crushed by what's going on, yeah, the charges came shortly after. But I'm not going to lie. He has been consistent. All right, even going back to the Alfred Smith dinner a few weeks ago, he was there. They seemed pretty cordial. Maybe he was actually trying to get out in front of this whole thing, be a little strategic. So I respect it.
Well, the return of Donald Trump to the White House is expected to have ramifications.
All right. I just want to say shout out to this New York City anchor lady right here. All right. And shout out to her on her outfit.
Not just around the country, but right here as in the city as well. Moments ago, Mayor Adams spoke out on the results of the election.
Bianca, Mayor Eric Adams started first by congratulating President-elect Donald Trump and incoming Vice President J.D. Vance. He says he hasn't spoken to Trump yet, but does plan to call him soon. He says that he respects the process and Americans made their voices heard last night. But he also answered questions about what this incoming administration means for migrants and vaccines. So first on migrants, the city's Immigrant Affairs Commissioner Manuel Castro says that talking about mass deportations only cause panic. City officials say that they are focused on protecting immigrant communities.
Yo, immigrant communities and illegal communities are two different things. In New York City, there are a lot of immigrant communities that migrated to the U.S. legally. That's a big difference from illegal communities that are in this country illegally. All right, there should be definitely a distinction, and the ones that are here illegally are who needs to be targeted by New York City, ICE, whoever, to get them out of here. But they're saying a mass deportation is going to possibly cause a stir.
Adams does not say whether he would like to see migrants move to other states in a decompression strategy like he was pushing for under the Biden administration, or if he'd be looking to the federal government to cut cities like New York a check to help care for some of these migrants.
Yo, New York City is going to stay in the state that it's in because it cares more about everybody else instead of actual New Yorkers and New York City. All right, y'all got buildings where the projects that need to be torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. All right, y'all got schools, hospitals, and all of that. But y'all care more about illegals. Yo, New York City, y'all need to start voting in better. New York City has a homelessness problem. It has a crime problem. It has a garbage and dirt problem. So much that it's become the branding of New York to some people. And this is what they're more concerned with. Instead of actually going in there and fixing up New York City, everything from the ground up, now they're talking about possibly adding new infrastructure for these people, new buildings and new schools for their kids. Yo, man, y'all crazy as hell. And I'm so glad that the rest of the country spoke out and said, hey, we need some change in this country and get a whole red wave going. Because leave it up to New York and California and some of these places, our communities would be bringing in these people and they don't even know who they are. That's the scary part. I don't care about bringing in people that have come into the country. You know, you vetted them and stuff like that. They don't know who these people are.
City officials not commenting on any questions about deportations, telling people to not create panic over something that might not happen. Adams did emphasize that he would like to see changes to the city's sanctuary city policies by allowing ICE to cooperate with law enforcement when it comes to migrants who have committed crimes.
So they're alleging that they're going to deal with the ones that commit crimes. So the other ones that are just sitting there burdening the system, you even hear some of them can't even work because a lot of them don't even speak English, but they're okay to stay. In closing, New York City got to get it together. They got New Yorkers struggling. This is unacceptable. You bringing in these people. I'm all for immigration. Like I said, you see the flags behind me. My parents are immigrants, but they came here legally. They have to go through the process. I'm not for this, just people coming illegally and then just being granted amnesty, which is what a lot of these blue places are going to end up doing, which means that possibly in the next election, given how the results came in this election, possibly these people could be voting. And I'm not here for that at all. I really hope that ICE is able to work with the local police and to go in there and fix stuff up, man. In a lot of these places, Chicago, Colorado, California, Ohio, and any other places that are being heavily impacted by what's going on right now. All right, it's not right. Either way, interested to know whatever you're thinking in the comments section, but I do have a final clip real quick. This is going to be Cardi B, all right, Friday, November 8th. 2024 after the election at a New York Knicks and Milwaukee Bucks game courtside. All right. She doesn't live in the same world that regular people do. She goes back to her Hollywood elite lifestyle. All right. She isn't affected the same way by the votes as we are. All right. She has an agenda to push. She's trying to get her elite friends back in office and running the government. And what? She's not affected either way. Meanwhile, people can't even afford groceries, can't afford their bills, can't afford gas. And then she gets up on stage and then you got people that are so wrapped up and caught up in this I don't know, where they actually think that she has their best interest when she gets up there and can't even read off of the phone, can't speak off the cuff. But that's all I really got to say on it. Till the next video, y'all be safe and stay wavy.
Repetition is the father of learning.